Hey there folks, it's B3, back with another fantastic action figure review. Today we are looking at more Saurozoic warriors. And from Wave 2 we have Pava Pergia from Boss Fight Studio. Yes, I'm a big believer in the Saurozoic warriors line. I think it's fantastic. Every single one I have bought and reviewed so far has been so good that I actually invested hundreds of dollars into these figures for my store. So if you would like these, you can check out my eBay page where they have free shipping for standard retail, and also my physical store in Monticello, Georgia. All the information for those is down below. But this is a very cool indie action figure line, kind of designed to look like 90s cartoon toys, but also kind of a modern sculpt to them, which is very, very cool. And let's take a little read up here. Launching from a rocky crag on treetop. Wait, that's not what it says. Launching from a rocky crag or treetop, there are few who equal Pava when it comes to fast attack, scouting, or covert surveillance. She uses thermal currents to soar effortlessly for long distances and has developed a sixth sense, which attunes her to the movement of the air. She can feel every breath of wind, and even find other saurians by the air they displace when they move. This makes it almost impossible to catch her unawares, and allows her to fight even in pitch darkness. Pava uses a silent laser pistol for long-range attacks, and her swords for close-in work. She uses her stealth and sixth sense to get as close as possible to her enemies to make certain of the kill. So she is a ninja Archaeopteryx. Pretty cool Archaeopteryx, very important dinosaur in the 90s, still an important one today. So that makes sense. And we have three other figures down here. These are all from the wave. Sephiroth, the Pachycephalosaurus Stazakiden, the Ankylosaur, and Triax Skyver with his Nightlands repaint. Of course, a Triceratops. I have reviewed these two. I have not reviewed Sephiroth, but we will get to it. Really, really cool. Love this. Really nice packaging. Inbox collectors will like it because it displays all the accessories right there up front. So let's bust her out of package. And here she is out of package, Pava Pergia. Yeah, she's pretty cool. I can already kind of tell you that she's not my favorite in the line, but she's not a bad figure. First up, I want to bring your attention to how she stands. So you can see she can lean back onto her tail feathers, which I think is an intentional design, because you could put her in a cool flying or kicking pose, you know, which is neat. If I could just bend that knee, there we are. But you can also have her on her feet, but to do that you kind of have to have the plumage up decently high, and I kind of just wish there was maybe a point of articulation on the plumage that could pop it up. Oh, you know what? Maybe, does that work? No, it's kind of heavy when you do that. I guess you could have it sit like that. Okay. That's not so bad. Alright, that kind of sort of fixes that gripe right there. As expected for a Boss Fight Studio figure, Pava's detail and paint is pretty good. Really clean paint on the mouth and stuff. Nice painted teethies. You know, you can see you got painted clothing. Some details are kind of missing on this on these straps. Like, looks like there's a tiny little grenade or maybe a switchblade or something back here that are kind of just the same color as the plastic, which I'm really not used to for Boss Fight. And then you can see here there's 4 throwing stars, but only one of them has any paint on it. That's a tad bit odd to me. So this strap, I feel like, is lacking in paint. And remember, I'm trying to sell you these. I'm being honest here, though. But like the actual dinosaur feathery parts and everything look really, really nice. So that's good to know. Articulation-wise, she has a decent bit going on. She can look down super far, especially if you include the neck joint, because she's always up in the trees, so that's good. I really do wish she could look up a lot more, though. That would be good for a flying pose. But there is a great wobble, you know, and like a good wobble on the head, side to side, and there's also a joint on that neck. And then the arms can go up and down, around, and you have rotation there, forward and back, and then rotation and forward and back on the wrists as well. And then in torso here, there's no cut up here or anything, but she does have a really, really excellent, like excellent waist, which is really good. You already saw that you can kind of turn this here, which is pretty nice. There is like a kind of a ball peg spot in the back there. Mine popped out, probably because I spun it all the way around. Get back in there. The legs, she does great splits, pretty spectacular forward, and the back is a little hindered by her feathers, but once again, you can turn those around. Really great articulation right there. You have a swivel here, as well as a single knee bend, up and down on the fadies, and a really, really good ankle pivot. Very nice. So her articulation is good. She's a lot thinner than a lot of other figures, and a lot of this clothing is sculpted on, but a lot of it is designed to kind of come off, like her little COVID mask, face mask there, and this, because Boss Fight Studios really does like their toys to be able to swap clothing around. And speaking of accessories, let's take a look at her little pistol here. It's pretty cool. Yoink! A nice little 90s pink kind of futuristic-y pistol. But does she hold it well? The answer is absolutely crapsatootly. I don't think that's the trigger. I don't see a trigger in it, but who knows? But yeah, she can hold that just fine. And it also can go in her holster. That seems to stay pretty well. Pava also comes with 2 sheaths, each containing a big old pink sword. And they do stay in there quite well. I actually have to exert a little force to get them out. And they are both seemingly slightly different swords. Looks like they're made from cobbled together tech. So, what you're going to want to do with her is pop this one with the longer peg into her back, and then this shorter one pegs into the other. So you can have her fully decked out in her swords. Very, very awesome. I think that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the view. Size comparisons. Here she's with some other Saurozoic warriors from her wave. Here on the left we have Stasa Kaiden, the Ronin Samurai Ankylosaur, and he's one of the shorter, thicker characters. And then here on the right, did I say left before? Anyway, now here on the right we have Triax Skyver, or Triceratops, and kind of the quote-unquote main character of Saurozoic warriors. Both of these I've reviewed, by the way, and both of them are also available on my eBay page and in my physical store, along with Pava here. Very cool. Yeah, I think she looks great with them. Yeah, she is standing up on her feathers now, but you can see that she really fits well with them. Now let's show her with a more traditional dinosaur, like this beautiful feathered velociraptor from Safari Limited. Really nice. I think she's looking pretty cool with the raptor. So if you want to pretend that your Saurozoic warriors live in a world that has regular dinosaurs running around, I think she'd look pretty good with that. And then here on the right we have a kaiju, a daikaiju specifically. It is the Bandai Japan Movie Monster Series 4th form, Shin Godzilla from 2016. Pretty cool. You know, it could be a monster on her planet that she fights. You know, they have this place called the Nightlands that's full of horrific monsters, so this could be a Nightlands monster. And last but not least, let's show her with some humanoid figures. Here on the left is actually another independent toy line like Saurozoic Warriors, but this one is from Voliverse. It is the Action Force Steel Brigade pink breast cancer awareness female figure. Really nice. I call her Greta, and she's an awesome figure. I really need more Voliverse stuff. Like, truly. And then here on the right, we have a Toku hero. It is the Bandai Japan Tamashii Nation Shingoku Seiho Kamen Rider Amazon. And the reason I wanted to show her with Amazon over here specifically is actually because I think the Saurozoic Warriors would make great kaijin for your figure arts. Yeah, a really cool monster of the week she would make, don't you think? I do. I think it's all really good, and boy howdy, I need a nice backdrop or something. My background is way too busy, isn't it? So what are my final thoughts on the Saurozoic Warriors Wave 2 Pava Pergia Ninja Archaeopteryx from Boss Fight Studio? I do like her, but she's not my favorite Saurozoic warrior. I just kind of wish I could do more with those tail feathers. Like maybe if they could split in the middle and come up more like wings or something so that I could still display them very prominently without taking up too much room or without her having to sit on them. I kind of like her sitting on them, to be honest, but I wouldn't always want that. She holds her accessories well. They're stored very well. I was kind of afraid that her sheaths would not stay on her back, but they do, and her swords are both different sculpts, which they could have just given us two of the same sword, but they didn't. I feel like she's a little lacking in paint compared to other Saurozoic warriors, but she's a very unique, very cool figure. Just has such a cool, nostalgic 90s feel to it while being and operating like a modern action figure. She's very cool. I think that just dinosaur fans, toy fans, etc. will really like her, like I do. Once again, if you're only going to get one Saurozoic warrior, I would probably go for like Triax or something, if you're only going to get one. But if you're going to get several, I do recommend her, because apparently the Archaeopteryxes are supposed to be one of the main tribes. If you want to know that lore, you can go to Boss Fight Studios' website. They have a digital comic you can download for free. But if you want this figure, definitely go to my eBay page or my physical store here in Georgia. More info down below. That is it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.